What's going on, boxing fans? It's Jordan Williams with The Distance. I'm here for another prediction for a fight that a lot of people aren't talking about. Really, nobody's talking about. This one is Jackson Bonsu versus Randall Bailey. This matchup is taking place at welterweight on March the 19th, I believe, either 19th or 20th. It's a welterweight fight. Bailey versus Bonsu, or Jackson, whatever the name is, because I've seen Bonsu, Jackson, Bonsu, whatever it is. But overall, it's actually a pretty good welterweight fight. That a lot of people really are talking about because Randall Bailey has just recently moved up to welterweight. Randall Bailey, former light welterweight champion, had like the knockout of the year last year against Figueroa. Had a pretty good matchup, pretty good showing against Juan Urango. Unfortunately, lost the fight. And December had a unanimous decision victory over, just over a regular opponent, just a guy they picked out there for him. But Randall Bailey, really good boxer, veteran boxer, provides a very good test for Bonsu because Bonsu has faced a few veterans. He faced the one dude that's the IBF champion. I can't pronounce his name, and he's faced Carlos Baldomir, which is another which is a pretty good matchup for him, a good little step up in competition for him there. And Randall Bailey, I really don't know if Randall Bailey is a step up in competition or if he's on the same level as Baldomir. But I could say this, with Bailey showed last year that he still kind of has it. He still has it a bit, but but at the same time, he did show I guess in the Urango fight that maybe he couldn't take the punishment anymore like he used to, or whatever. But he did show flashes of brilliance in that fight. Especially with the right hand, being the first man to ever knock down Juan Urango says a lot. Says a lot to me. And Urango was just knocked out by Devin Alexander this weekend. But the fact that he knocked down Juan Urango with that blinding shot, says a whole lot. Given that he's like 35, 36 years old now, he was able to knock down Juan Urango. Says a lot. And Bonsu actually had a knockout loss recently to Sekou Aiden. I don't know how to pronounce his name. He's not from here. He doesn't. His fights aren't aired here. Really, you could pretty much only see his fights on YouTube and like maybe Daily Motion if they have some of his fights. But he knocked him out. Knocked him out. When they were fighting, leaning on each other on the inside. So he does have like 3 losses in his career. One early in his career, one to the IBF welterweight champion, whose name I can't pronounce, and one to Aiden. So he has some pretty he has some losses, but has faced some somewhat quality opposition. Fighting by way of Belgium. I don't think he's even fought in the United States yet, but Randall Bailey provides some pretty good competition for him. Provides either a stagnating step or a step up in competition. But onto the fight, I've seen from Bonsu has shown some pretty good head movement, unlike a lot of Bailey opponents. Well, actually, a lot of Bailey opponents that have head movement, have beaten him. Really, the way to beat Randall Bailey, the fact that Randall Bailey is very dependent on the right hand. The way to beat him is to box with him. Does Bonsu have the boxing ability, to box against Bailey? Because Bonsu is the type of fighter that walks in and throws. He walks in and throws as his shots come in a little wide. Either they come in wide or they come in very wide. He throws very wild at times as well. And sometimes he can't really fight at a controlled pace. Against Randall Bailey, he has to fight at a controlled pace. He has to box with in this fight. Bonsu really has to go to Bailey's left because, like I said, Bailey is very dependent on the right hand. Boxing to Bailey's left, moving to Bonsu's right. He has to do that the whole fight to stay away from that right hand. sometimes Bailey does do a good job of suckering you in with the left hand and throwing the right. As evident, in the Figueroa fight, and he did try it in the Colo fight. He tried to, sucker Colo in with the left hand, or tried to get the the right hand over the top, and was unable to do so. He tried with Urango, showed that, pretty much he's a puncher. He's a puncher, so against a puncher, you have to box. Bonsu has to box. He has to be, elusive and move, and pretty much just move, to the left, to the left side. Another thing that Bonsu really needs to do is I think he really needs to kind of try to make it an inside fight, as much as possible. Because if he takes that range away from Randall Bailey can't get, all the power, in the right hand, to get the shot off. I rarely ever see, Randall Bailey throwing short right hands, and from what I've seen him knocking out opponents, it was always, the straight right hand. And the straight right hand, even when he knocked down Urango, came from a range. So, I think he needs to stay in close and pretty much just stay to his left in this fight. For Randall Bailey in this fight, needs to try his best to rough up Bonsu. I think he needs to go to the body. I think another thing Bailey needs to do, he needs to counter punch. Because there's times that the right hand that Bailey throws is a blinding shot. Just like with Urango, blinding shot. Other than that, I think he does need to use his jab more. He needs to use his left jab a lot more in this fight. Time Bonsu coming in, because Bonsu is definitely going to be coming in. He's going to come in. He's going to, he's probably going to bum rush Bailey. So I think he needs to time Bonsu coming in. I think the perfect punch for Bailey when Bonsu comes in, I think it's pretty much his right hand. When Bonsu comes in, he comes in. Sometimes sometimes his hands are down. Sometimes he throws a wild shot. I think Bailey could time him coming in. Hit him with the right hand and possibly even knock him out. Because Bonsu's been knocked out before, to Aiden, and that was kind of a shot that he saw. He kind of saw it coming. It wasn't necessarily a blinding shot; it was a shot from the inside. But Randall Bailey needs to do the same. He needs to time Bonsu coming in on the inside with the right hand, to get the knockout. I think against Bonsu, it'd be a very satisfying victory for Bailey if it is by knockout, because Bonsu is, I guess, you could say Bonsu is a legit welterweight contender, and Randall Bailey, now moving up in weight, I think he wants to be on that status of welterweight contender. I know he probably wants to move. I know he probably, wants a title shot, by the time, before the time he's 40, but, and on top of that, it's a big money division. There's a lot of money in the welterweight division, so I think he wants to be among that crop of fighters. So I do think that Randall Bailey just needs to, I think timing, jabbing, and not letting Bonsu in on the inside. Range, of course, wins Bailey the fight. But wow, this is another hard fight to score, because this is a good time of year for boxing. Spring is one. Spring this year is much better than spring last year. There's no fights being called off, postponed, or whatever. We got more fights back to back this spring than last spring. But this is a hard fight to call. But I think I'm gonna go with the veteran in this fight. I'm gonna go with Randall Bailey in this fight by knockout, maybe the 9th round. I think Randall Bailey could catch Bonsu coming in, time him very well, and catch him with the right hand. And I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Maybe it's Bonsu's time to shine. But me personally, I'm gonna go with the knockout king, Randall Bailey, knockout in the 9th round. But anyway, that was Distance. Thanks for watching. Peace.